Gaza protests continue on campus.
And as he was pulling me in, he was yelling, "Get out, get out, get out," and then somebody pepper sprayed me.
With one clashing at a private university. Evacuation alerts for residents in California. A wildfire slightly contained. And an economic crisis 90 miles from the Florida Keys.
Production in the country has collapsed. The country is bankrupt.
Why Cuba is running low on cash. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Anthony Cruz.
I'm Valentina Gaspari. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
But not forgotten, an exhibit now open to remember the Black and immigrant past of the area where the Kennedy Center now stands. The historic Washington, D.C. neighborhood of Foggy Bottom was once home to these underserved communities.
In place now is an exhibit called We Remain Here. Caplin, D.C. reporter Cassandra Alonso joins us live from the Kennedy Center. Good morning, Cassandra.
Good morning. This past week, we were reminded of the importance of passing down history from one generation to the next. The We Remain Here exhibit honored those who were displaced but not forgotten. Let's take a look. This past week, Mahogany L. Brown came from Brooklyn to debut her We Remain Here exhibit and spread her message to the streets of Washington, D.C. Brown advocates for voices of the Black community that remain unheard through her many writings. The We Remain Here exhibit last week lived on a wall at the Kennedy Center and consisted of a poem Brown wrote intending to acknowledge the land that Black and migrant communities of Foggy Bottom once resided in. The passion in her words stands as a form of reclamation and proudly represents the legacy these communities created. This is her way of passing down this history to the next generation and preventing it from being erased.
It's really an honor to think about the people of Foggy Bottom, to remember them, and to honor them.
This exhibit not only represents those displaced in the community of Foggy Bottom, but also Black voices from all over America that have been unheard. Mahogany tells us that it is important for her to spread this message wherever she goes. Black communities have been forced to migrate in many different areas. South Florida is one of them.
We are everywhere, and it's easy to gentrify spaces and pretend that the magic that is there never existed. It is built on the bones of Black people. It is built on the magic of Black people. And because of us, you get to see the light and the light. And that is what draws you near. That is what brings you closer. I will continue to honor our ancestors everywhere I go.
As Mahogany continues to advocate for these communities, people can read about her work and pass the information along everywhere they go. Reporting from Washington, D.C. for Caplin News, this is Cassandra Alonso.
As Cubans are no strangers to making endless lines just to get hold of some necessities. Those lines have extended to government-run banks as the island continues to run out of cash. A lack of cash has led to many at the end of the lines getting told that the bank no longer has any left. This, combined with skyrocketing inflation, has plagued Cuba's economy to the point where many civilians cannot afford to get by. The government blames the crisis on the U.S. government's economic sanctions. However, Cuban journalists also say that much of the country has simply lost faith in its banking system and currency.
There is no production in Cuba, he says. Production in the country has collapsed. The country is bankrupt.
A solution to Cuba's worst economic crisis in decades has not been presented, but must come soon because time and money may be running out.
History made in Mexico this morning as Claudia Sheinbaum prepares to take office as the country's first ever female president. Sheinbaum is also the first president of Jewish descent and dedicated herself to politics since she was a child. Longtime political ally of current President López Obrador since she was named Secretary of Environment in 2000, she has vowed to continue his policies. However, many voters also hope she addresses issues such as national security.
Moving over to the Middle East, reluctant cooperation from Israel this morning after President Biden announces a framework to end the conflict in Gaza. One of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's aides told the Sunday Times in Britain that Israel had accepted the plan. The foreign policy advisory saying of Biden's proposal is not a good deal, but we dearly want the hostages released, all of them.
And while pro-Palestinian protests are occurring in graduation ceremonies throughout the country, protesters have had their battles with the authorities. As Caplin's Ellie Ruiz reports, the University of Chicago police were called to deal with the protesters during their graduation.
There were gestures of defiance by students protesting the war in Gaza at the University of Chicago convocation. This took place on Saturday morning. This, as others and their supporters took to the streets in protest.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
The school withheld the diplomas of at least 4 seniors over their involvement with the pro-Palestinian encampment. The encampment at the school was cleared May 7th.
And we will continue to fight until the university divests, discloses, and repairs.
Hundreds joined the chorus of students demanding their universities and colleges stop doing business with Israel or companies they say support its war in Gaza.
Chicago, divest now! We want justice, you say how! We want justice, you say how!
The disruption to the rainy hours-long outdoor ceremony was brief. Some students waved Palestinian flags while others wore traditional black and white checkered scarves over their robes as a show of solidarity. But during a separate rally in March, some pro-Palestinian demonstrators clashed with university police. One woman says she was pepper sprayed in the face.
UCPD grabbed my arm, was pulling me into his line, and as he was pulling me in, he was yelling, "Get out, get out, get out," and then somebody pepper sprayed me.
In an emailed statement, a spokesperson for the university confirms an interaction between police and a protester, writing in part, "Demonstrators at a protest on East 59th Street and South University Avenue attempted to access a closed street and break through a barrier erected by the university. A small number of protesters acted violently. One protester, who is unaffiliated with the university, was arrested. Charges are being sought for battery." The university made no other statements about the protest. For Caplin News, this is Ellie Ruiz.
A tragic scene this morning as firefighters tried to contain a wild-driven wildfire. It first erupted near San Francisco yesterday. Dubbed the Coral Fire, officials say it has spread across 22 square miles by yesterday afternoon. So far, the fire has destroyed one home and forced 100,000 people in the city of Tracy to evacuate. The fire started near Grassy Hills, managed by the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. The lab is a key center for nuclear weapons, science, and technology in the country.
Another tragic event, this time off of Florida's coast. A child and 7 adults were underwater after their 28-foot boat overturned near St. Petersburg. Authorities received a frantic call from the boat. Clearwater Air Station rescuers responded to the scene and located the boat from a tracking device. Luckily, each boater was wearing a life jacket when the helicopter crew pulled them from the water. The crew flew near them to a nearby airport for urgent care.
Technical issues scrubbed the takeoff of Boeing's Starliner spacecraft just minutes before liftoff from Florida's Space Coast. An automatic hold triggered by the computer that launches the rocket at Cape Canaveral stopped the countdown clock at 3 minutes and 50 seconds ahead of launch on Saturday. The cause of the automatic hold is not clear. Teams are now preparing to extract the 2 astronauts from the capsule safely. The next launch opportunity is this coming Wednesday. And a problem on a flight out of Miami has grounded the year's most anticipated boxing match, at least for now.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
3-game win streak. They've got the Cardinals. That's through the left side, a base hit. 1 run is going to score, so the Marlins already hard pressed.
The Marlins had a tough challenge on their hands, wrapping up a 3-game series against the defending World Series champions. Don't go anywhere. Newsbreak will be back in just 2 minutes.
See us dream. See us remember. See us protest.
You matter. Your feelings matter. Your identity matters. Everything about who you are matters.
See us fight back. See us rebuild. See us shatter stereotypes. See us inspire. See us united. See us now.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
The Marlins challenging the defending World Series champions after winning big Friday and losing even bigger on Saturday. Game 3 was yesterday afternoon. And Flanagan's night turned out to be the only highlight fans witnessed at Lone Depot Park between Saturday and Sunday's games, as the Fish went runless in those 2 outings.
The Marlins could not match the energy from Friday's game. Rangers outfielder Adolis Garcia had himself a day, notching 2 RBI, an athletic diving catch on a Tim Anderson hit in the bottom of the 3rd, and a solo homer in the top of the 6th. The final score for this game, Texas 6, Marlins 0. The Fish don't have much time to catch their breath as the Tampa Bay Rays are driving south for the start of a Sunshine State showdown tomorrow.
The fight between former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson and YouTuber Jake Paul has been postponed. Tyson had a reported health scare on a plane which departed Miami last week. It was later revealed as an ulcer flare-up. The fight was scheduled to take place on July 20th at the AT&T Stadium near Dallas. Now it is being rescheduled between the months of October and December. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
I debate all day. It's what I do. But there are some things that are undebatable, like your mental health. I was in a dark place when my brother passed away in a car accident. I was depressed in ways I never imagined. I reached out, and my sisters came, my pastor, my therapist. They helped me get through it. I found that the more I spoke up, the healthier my mind became. When you love your mind, you can go so much further. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak today. I'm Valentina Gaspari.
And I'm Anthony Cruz. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.